internet of value at Ripple, we're thinking much bigger than just cross-border payments. It's kind of like Amazon with rare books in the early days, just this market happens to be a $10 trillion market.
We are at a historic turning point.
Said in the past that you are doing for money what email did for communication.
Moving the whole revolution forward.
Take on it.
There's trillions of dollars parked around the world. XRP.
Is there a possibility that Ripple could take over SWIFT one day?
Well,
back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Turf House Group. Let's get right into today's video. Currently, XRP is at $1.86. And a lot of people are going to call us, crazy when we talk about $100 XRP. I get it. Some people are just not going to see it. But in today's episode, you're going to see what the big guys are doing. You're going to understand why Mark Carney became the Prime Minister of Canada. You're going to understand why they named Mr. Tharman Shanmugaratnam as Singapore's 9th president. Okay? These were coordinated, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. The next chapter of human society is going to be, I don't even know if that makes sense, but the next chapter for humans, we're just going to have to get through it. Okay, AI is coming, and the only way you're going to kind of get a grasp of life is if you could get a grasp of this wealth transfer that's about to happen. So at least you have some capital to get yourself out of whatever these guys have coming down the pipelines. Very important video. Please share this with everybody. Christmas is around the corner. Send this video or other videos on my channel to your loved ones, because right now it's at $1.86. And then when XRP is at $10, $20, $30, $40, you could say, hey, remember when I sent you that crazy gift, that text message that I told you to listen and kind of watch some of those videos? Trust me, this is probably going to be the most valuable Christmas present that they're going to miss out on, technically. Because it's not like a present. It's up to them if they're willing to take the initiative and learn about XRP. Because back in almost 2.5 years ago, we made a video in regards to how BNY Mellon was silently working with Ripple.
About insurance settlements, direct. Welcome back to another episode. We're going to get into the full video in a moment. We're also going to get into a video by the CEO of BNY Mellon. We're going to get into that right now, okay? And keep in mind, they're silently working with Ripple directly or indirectly. Take a listen to this.
So, in that video where he talks about, just payment systems, nothing crazy, but I've been telling you guys, this is all done in silence. And then when you jump 2.5 years later to 2025, BNY Mellon came out and said they're going to be working with Ripple. And they're talking about their stable coin, but there's going to be many, many other features that they're going to utilize. Well, they're going to utilize Ripple's features within the infrastructure that they have built. And you're going to hear bombshells from some really, really reputable individuals like Mr. Ravi, Menon. He's been at the IMF since 2011, and his resume speaks for himself, okay? But where should I even start? So you're going to listen to what Mike Novogratz says here in a moment, and also Charles Hodgkinson, because these are very, very important stuff. But let me take you back and let me bring something that Ravi said. Okay, this is very, very important because Ravi has been working within the Monetary Authority of Singapore for a very, very long time. Okay, he's been there for a while. He was the deputy secretary there. But what's important here is how Ripple obtained their license in Singapore, okay? Because the license allows Ripple to offer regulated digital payment token products and services and expand customers' use of XRP. So for mass to use XRP, and you're probably wondering, why aren't they using it now? Because the system's not ready. They don't need to. And this is a big collaborative project, and when they're ready to start rolling this stuff out and utilize the features that they have built for themselves, they will get to it, okay? This is not a rush. This needs to be done. Remember what we said. Once these systems get implemented, there is no going back. It is going to be a new world. It is going to be crazy. And if you go into what Brad Garlinghouse said, because this is very exotic. When this happened, he came out and said, as a major global financial center, Singapore led the way in taking a pragmatic innovation first approach to crypto. We're incredibly proud. Ripple is one of a handful of firms to receive in principle approval for mass MPI license for digital payment token services. Okay, less than 20 people. And what are the odds? I mean, I'm sure you could guess who the other one is. Circle. Circle also obtained their MPI. Guess what? Around the same time. Circle got it June 7, 2023, and Ripple got it on June 21st. So just a week later. Okay? Pretty much just a week later. But why is this important? Because this is how the dominoes are placed. Okay? If you go back to what Ravi said back in 2015, a smart financial center keynote address by Mr. Ravi. Okay, Ravi said this. He said the obvious, and it happened. And look where we are now in 2026. He said, indeed, these non-financial firms look to set to disrupt the financial industry. For example, Ripple. As a senior banker in the U.S. puts it, people need banking, not banks. So like JP Morgan saying, we don't need more banks. We don't need more banks. They just need to do banking. We already have the system in place. Right? So now in 2026, Ripple is applying to be a bank. You see where this is all going. If I would not be surprised if Ripple and JP Morgan, at the end of the day, Ripple gets bought out by JP Morgan, or somehow they like put One World Bank or something. I don't know. But like I said, this is going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out. And then he said that the second thing that is happening is that the financial institutions are fighting back. This is back in 2015. They were fighting back. They sued Ripple and its digital asset XRP. Why? Because they were the biggest threat to their... Oh, do you not see this? Folks, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and smash that like button. The excitement in me for Ripple and XRP has never died and never will, because this thing is the next Bitcoin, okay? But listen to what Ravi says here. There are many potential applications of distributed ledger systems in the financial sector. And then he says Ripple in the US offers a solution based on distributed ledger for real-time gross settlement currency exchange and remittance. The same solution could be potentially allow regulators to plug into the network to conduct surveillance of risk and to track transactions to detect money laundering or terrorist financing. Okay, so the same solution could potentially have everything built in. You know what's really important for these banks? Built-in compliance to your infrastructure. And guess what? Ripple has that. And then when we keep going, keep in mind, this is very important. FSB, let's talk about the FSB. You guys recall we made that video in regards to the Financial Stability Board, them utilizing, testing XRP and the XRP ledger. We made 4 videos on that, the 4 Sundays. That will go down legendary. But take a listen to Mark Carney here, okay? He was there at the FSB chair 2011 to 2018. And then he became the bank governor in Bank of England. We all know that Ripple has been working very closely with the Bank of England for a very, very long time, and their PDFs leading from 2008 to 2024 have published research on Ripple and its digital asset XRP and how it's useful for the new world economy. And you're probably wondering, okay, where are you going with this? Well, I'm going right here. That is why Mark Carney has been elected to become the Prime Minister of Canada. Why? Because he knows the system that they're about to implement. His resume is completely economics in regards to, he's been at the banking sector for a very long time. And if you just listen to what he says here.
And part of it goes right into the infrastructure that we oversee. So I'll use an example in the UK, which is a large value payment system. It's called RTGS. The central bankers in the room all oversee similar ones. What we're doing is we're reforming that so that it is a plug-and-play system. That the innovators that the president spoke of, they can figure out different ways to plug into that system, bypass the bank.
This is when he was working within the ECB as well. He was at the ECB as well, and that's where Christine Lagarde is currently. And then it gets more interesting because you go into Mr. Tharman. I'm just going to say Tharman San, okay? Mr. Tharman San has been the chairman of the Monetary Authority of Singapore. And just recently, he has been promoted to become Singapore's 9th president. Why? Because he understands the infrastructure. Okay, this is the biggest change in human history. I mean, just take a listen to what Charles Hodgkinson says, and then I'll get into more about Tharman.
So, anytime you have an emerging technology, there's 1,000 flowers that bloom, and not all those flowers survive the winter. So there's always a great explosion and then a Cambrian extinction of companies. And then there's going to be a consolidation to a collection of dominant standards. The challenge is that we're just moving very quickly, and you're not talking about one technology class. When you look at crypto, it's not just a financial asset. You're also talking about protocols to run social networks and artificial intelligence and supply chains and medical records. So it's kind of a rewiring of the back end of society. And the real value proposition is global trade.
These presidents, prime ministers, they need to understand what's coming. This is going to be crazy. That's why Trump's here. You guys remember we told you back in 2018 that Ripple and Trump have been working together for a very long time? That is facts. Okay? And all the idiots that don't see it, you're going to get left behind. I have given so much information on this channel that any individual that comes out here and leaves any kind of false hope for the XRP community, you're just so dumb that you don't understand what's unfolding. If you don't think that Mark Carney becoming prime minister here is not a coordinated implementation by the bigger guys and also Tharman, come on, folks. Tharman talking about this.
We do want to have an open and interoperable system. Central bank digital currencies are not constructed to be interoperable.
And then he's becoming the prime minister. And let's play the montage.
We do want to have an open and interoperable system. Central bank digital currencies are not constructed to be interoperable.
Interoperability between central bank digital currencies
is very much there needs to be interoperability globally. And even in a world of CBDCs, you still need interoperability to solve.
It has to work interoperably with anyone, anywhere. That's how we're going to solve this problem. And I think we're really close. I mean, USDC itself we've seen over $3.5 trillion of transactions directly on the internet between counterparties. And so if we can, improve it with more scalable blockchain technologies like, Brad's company.
Remember, they're all learning together. They need to put the most, individuals that understand the system, because every single economy is going to change. And if you're a prime minister or if you're a president, they don't understand this change, they don't understand the technology, then it's not going to be good. Like, this is going to be the biggest change in human history. Understand that. And then, for example, even when you go into a Monetary Authority of Singapore document where they talk about, so this was a purpose-bound money features, the use of common protocol that is designed to work with different ledger technology and forms of money. With a standardized format, users will be able to access digital money using the wallet provider of their choice. Okay, but listen to this part. This part sticks out here because they say that, again, remember I told you, this is all testing, collaboration, failing, trying, battle testing, all that stuff. But we know the winner is Ripple XRP. Furthermore, for distributed ledger-based networks, they tell you that a trusted third-party organization could be engaged to function as an oracle, offering dependable external data inputs into the network. Okay, let that marinate. Read it twice if you have to. Pause the screen. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do appreciate every single one of you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. From Circle to the collaborations, and when people want to sit there and pretend like they don't see it or they don't understand it or they leave some negative comment, I'm honestly like, wow, like, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you. Remember, we talked about this, hopium-filled video, misleading information. Again, also stupid stuff that I'm making up, saying quietly working behind the scenes. And guess what? It was facts. It's just facts. I only tell you like what you need to hear in terms of facts. I've worked in a regulated banking system for 10 years. I know how these guys operate. And I'll tell you one thing right now. The amount of huge collaborations that are pending for Ripple and this ecosystem and the announcements that are on the sidelines that will be released when when both parties are comfortable to do so. That's it, folks. That's it. So people missed the boat and said it was BS at 48 cents. Send these videos, maybe not this one, send them how XRP goes to $100. Maybe search that up on my channel. But this is very important to understand why Mark Carney and Tharman have been selected for president and prime minister. This is because the economy is going to change, and they understand the economy, they understand the blockchain, and this is who you want up there, okay, to take leadership. And that is why Christine Lagarde, okay, even when we take a look at that picture, oh, you know what, I deeply apologize. I should have put this picture way before, but if you guys recall, I got to bring this up here. I do apologize because one of the main points here was how Tharman, this is Ravi. Okay, remember Ravi? We just talked about Ravi. Ravi Menon. He talked about Ripple, XRP. Here is Brock Garlinghouse, Christine Lagarde. Christine Lagarde was at the head of the IMF when this was all taking place. Okay? And then she went over to the ECB. I cannot stress that enough. I feel like a broken record because I have to keep saying that because that is the truth. She went from the ECB, she went from the IMF to the ECB because there was a bigger role there. And she still want that's bigger power than the head of the IMF there. Okay? And then she set the whole team up. Okay, you have Jess Chang. Okay, you have Rob Palatnik from the DTCC, architect. Like, folks, again, managing director of Monetary Authority of Singapore. Long in the making. Oh my goodness. And even Sopendu Mohadi. Oh my goodness. I totally forgot. We did a lot of research on Sopendu Mohadi and the amount of information that he said about Ripple that was direct and indirectly was really just out of this world. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, there isn't going to be any other community like we have here. Okay. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. But I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas, has wonderful holidays. I'll be here every day documenting this journey, documenting our wealth transfer that we're all going to live through. Like I say, and I know you guys can all relate to this, the loudest ones, okay, the loudest ones are the ones that didn't accumulate enough. Because the individuals that accumulated and listened, because we had XRP at 50 cents for years, you're all sitting on profits. And you're all that's why we have 10,000 views, on a constant basis when the markets and narratives are completely hammered. Okay, these are the core. Like, these are the pillars. This is, congratulations. Man, like, I'm just gonna leave that in there. But at the end of the day, it's up to the humans to take this information in and understand it. And I'm just so amazed that there's more individuals like myself out there on this planet, and across the different parts of the world. It's crazy. We'll be back with another video.
But I think the idea of buying and holding forever and not trying to make adjustments requires that you've gotten it right in the first place. That you can only hold tight if you've bought right, if you will. And that is to say, have an asset allocation that has something to do with how many years you have to accumulate money, how much resources you have at stake, how much income you need, and how much courage you have to ride out the peregrinations of the market.
We started building RippleNet with the thesis that crypto liquidity would eventually be able to support robust global payments, large payments. RippleNet was designed so that customers seeing the benefits of our fiat-based network could flip the switch to ODL once the market was mature enough. And this is exactly what's happening.
Flip the switch.
I think what we're building has, it's solving a real problem. And I think all of the tokens, my advice to anybody would be, understand the utility. If there's real utility and there's real value being delivered to a real customer, there will be value in the token.